Hey folks. I've had a couple of really cool days in my physical practice. I think I mentioned something about this a few days ago, and something showed up. I think it was yesterday. I remember a few days ago I spoke on my post about privileging my physical practice in the morning, taking a little more time with it, and that was encroaching on meditation a little bit. It was meaning that I had less time to meditate before the day gets rolling and a 4-year-old is awake and it's breakfast time and we're moving. And I was kind of clocking that, but then something showed up in my meditation where I felt an immediate sort of like an energizing of my spine. And I was like, oh, that's what this physical stuff is about. It's opening this channel that actually is going to nourish meditation and really energize meditation and allow meditation to happen for longer, to go deeper. So it sort of affirmed for me what had been a kind of subconscious and sort of like really only kind of, I was just kind of going with the flow each morning. And then just noticing, oh, instead of meditating for, 40 minutes, I'm meditating for 10 or 20 or, just clipping it down. And then I had a similar experience yesterday where I sat down after doing a good amount of physical opening, breathing stuff. And my whole spine was kind of, it was like I plugged it into an electric outlet. And it's an incredible feeling. It's kind of like, there's an interesting way in which it's like from the crown of the head into the neck and upper back, and then it really does link all the way down into the pelvis. There's a kind of sense that there's energy to be found, and it's like there's an upward impulse, and at the same time a kind of a load shooting down, not a load of weight, but a load of energy. And then it becomes this kind of dynamic breathing. It felt so. And what happened yesterday that was other than me just talking about a cool experience, what happened yesterday was I started to feel that, and I started to my spine started to reach. And then after a minute or two, the energy sort of went away. It was like I could feel, oh, I'm not connected anymore. I'm not physically open anymore. And it was like I was reaching for that feeling of the energy. My spine was kind of going, oh, that feels good. Let me find that. And in doing that, in reaching for it, the system got ever so subtly locked and the energy couldn't flow. And then after I realized that, I sort of noticed it and I was like, okay, interesting. Let me just acknowledge that it's not there anymore. What can I do? And then the first thing I did, it was just like totally, I think it just kind of happened spontaneously, but I breathed, just took a breath. And instead of that sort of fixed reaching of the spine kind of went and just became supple and started to move rhythmically. And all of a sudden the energy came shooting back. It was like, there you go. And so it's this interesting game that I've been playing ever since, where I can feel that there is an alignment, there is a kind of directionality to the spine, there is a kind of alignment is the word, that really opens up the channel and just allows energy to move. And this is a kind of very Qigong kind of like, at least the way that I've studied Qigong, it's very much of that philosophy, which is that alignment is never static. Alignment is always dynamic. Alignment is always moving. It's always, because what does it mean? What would it mean for a body to have perfect alignment? Does that imply a static state? What good is that when we use it? The whole point of a body is to move around and do stuff all day. So what does alignment mean when constant change and constant movement is inherent in all of life? And and it sounds kind of so obvious when you say it that way, but to find that principle at work, just in the movement of my spine, just sitting in meditation, was kind of cool to feel, oh, yeah, if I sit here and I reach with my spine, I'll hit that energy, I'll find it. But then before I know it, I'm reaching for it, and it's like now there's contraction. There's a reaching that kind of hardens. So I breathe into softness. It's like, what good does the biggest breath of air in the world do you? I've got as much air as I can possibly have. Great. What are you going to do with it? Doesn't it have to come back out again? I mean, it's like being perfect alignment would be like the perfect breath of air, as though then we could be done and not need any more air or not. I don't know. There's something. It's kind of like just this and this way of framing our objectives in a way that it's patently absurd when you think of it the way I just described, like the biggest breath of air in the world. Well, what good does it do you? What it means you might be able to hold your breath for like a few more seconds before you need another one. But I think on some level, I'll just speak for myself. On some level, it's not uncommon to conceive of our goals as these static states of affairs or static, final end points in some way. Even something like bodily alignment, bodily integrity. Perfect bodily integrity. That's what I'm going for. It's just no such thing. It's not a thing. That is literally not a thing. There is no such thing. There's excellent alignment. There's a system that maintains an integrity while in constant motion more often than not, and therefore experiences less friction, less wear and tear, less fewer blockages and obstacles. But I think the body and that sense of organic kind of life, breath, movement, bringing that into not just our physical practice or our meditation practice, as I was talking about, but all of our goals, everything, everything we're striving for, understanding that it's already happening, A, and B, there's no there. We're on a journey towards what is always going to be a moving state and a kind of fluid, dynamic integrity. And if we understand that, then when we feel ourselves slipping out of integrity, or we feel ourselves falling off the ball a little bit, whatever it is. I had a late night last night. Got kind of like really heady into some work I was doing. Stayed up late, way later than I wanted to. At the end of it, I was like, ugh, why'd I do that? But rather than get too, down on myself for it, I sort of felt like, oh, I took a shower, took some deep breaths, took it easy. I was like, okay, let's just come back to center. Get a little extra rest in the morning, and so I think maybe it's me, but someone like me needs that permission to be in motion, to be in process. Because my energy is going to be so focused and so laser-like, and I want to turn these goals into these, omega points that I'm pointing a laser at and trying to shoot a rocket towards. And which is a perfectly good energy to have, and can be real problematic if it's not held within a sense of fluidity and breath and spaciousness. And so, and I'm learning this with Annalise. I'm learning how when I push her on violin, she almost invariably will. She's like, "I'm not having that," and then I adjust and I learn to kind of breathe with her, soften, take my agenda off the table, listen to her, see where she's trying to go, even if there are things that that like the teacher gave us this to study and this is what we're working on. How roundabout can I be in my need for that to happen? How much can I let her love of this thing we're doing be the source of it? Because that is a breathing, living energy. So, yeah. That's me on Sunday, December 4th. Thanks, folks. Appreciate you. Much, much love. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.